You're tuned into the Coaching Process Wins podcast.
Every day you build, you put blocks down. You guys ever see a mansion, a big, beautiful mansion? You got to build the foundation, man. That's what we're doing here. Understand that. You got to build the block.
Welcome back to the Coaching Process Wins podcast. At Coaching Process Wins, we strive to learn more about great coaching processes that are efficient, that are effective, last, and those processes that get results. Check us out on our website at coachingprocesswins.com, and always follow us for the latest on Twitter at Process Wins. That's at Process. Well, here we are, coaching in the car. I look forward to this. Hopefully I can do it on a daily basis. There's nothing like driving around, unless you're out on the beach, but driving around the central coast here of California, out on the Monterey Peninsula. I look forward actually to running errands, to getting in the car and going somewhere, because every day is a new day. And this day in sunny California, here on the central coast of Monterey, is just like yesterday, beautiful and not humid or not hot. I love it. But got something very near and dear to my heart that I want to share with coaches. You know, I come from a football background, but I think what we're going to talk about applies to any coach, any sport, any manager, if you will, of a business, because we all got to coach something, and that's just what I'm so deadgum excited about. So let's get this thing taken off. I am going to title this Vision, and you're going to hear me repeat the word vision several times. It's something that has stayed with me a long time, and I think it's brought me some success, and it's brought me some personal success, and I think it's something that a coach has to have. You know, a few episodes back, and you can look for it. So if you go into iTunes, go to Coaching Process Wins, and you're going to see the word why. Put it on LinkedIn. You know, why is important for a coach to have. You know, you have to have a why. That why gets you up. That why stays with you when you go down to sleep. We talked about in that podcast that the people that you coach, the people that are under you, need to have a why. Why are we doing this? And that's not a disrespect thing. Why are we doing this? It's a meaning thing, because people are much more apt to act when they know why instead of them knowing what. It's not what you want to do. It's not what you know. It's why you do it. And if people can catch that why fever, the world is your oyster. You're going to accomplish a lot as a group and as a team. So listen to why, and I feel like this ties into the why. It's almost like a chicken or an egg thing. What's more important, your why or your vision? I don't know the answer to that. I think you have to have both. They're both important. So let's land on vision. You know, when I talk about vision, the first thing I have to understand is the definition of it. This is the RIC, Coaching in Your Car definition of vision. And I think a vision has to be differentiated or separated from what a goal is, what an objective is, what a thought is, what a duty is. It goes beyond the goals and objectives that we're all taught about. Vision, if I'm going to really bore down on it, is something that you see when your eyes are closed. A vision is something you see when the last thought you have before going to sleep is right there in your mind's eye. A vision is that thing that wakes you up early in the morning and you clearly see it. A vision is there unshaken when you get a setback, when a loss happens, when a bad event happens. A vision is there through thick and thin, man. I want to just make sure you define it, or it is defined as a clear thing that you can see. That's a vision. Why am I so passionate about vision? I don't believe you can take the next step without it. If you have a career goal, you have to have a vision for where that career is going to end up. More importantly, coaching a team sport, coaching a group of people, managing, leading. Actually, I've heard it said you manage things and you lead people. But to lead that group of people, coach that group of people, they have to catch the vision. What is our vision? So as a coach, you sit there. I think you have to say, all right, we're in our first preseason scrimmage. What do we look like today? But the vision is, what do we look like after 11 games? What do I see our team looking like after 11 games? What do I see our program looking like in the next 1 year? What do the walls look like? What do the uniforms look like? What's on the walls? How many people are in the program? How many people are bought in? 2 years down the road, what's the vision look like? Have that expressed to your administration, to your bosses, to your athletic director, to the people that are involved. This is the vision that we have, exactly what this thing looks like in 2 years. This is what it looks like in 5 years. This is the long game. This is our vision for what the outside world is going to see. It's what we're going to look like. This is what we're going to represent. This is what it's going to mean. That vision has to be communicated to others, but it all starts with you. What is your vision? And why am I so passionate about vision? If you've heard other podcasts, I've touched lightly on it, but I was a football coach for 28 seasons, and I was at the high school level, both as an assistant coach and a head coach. I was at the small college level, NCAA Division II, Division III, NAIA, and I even got a chance to coach in the Arena Football League back when NFL owners owned teams. The team I was a part of, the franchise that I was a part of, was part of the Tennessee Titans. We were the Nashville Cats, and that was a great experience to be coaching that level of athletes. And I'll just give you a little bit about the perspective I come from and where I've been. But my vision goes a lot farther than that. Going a little bit farther just to paint this story, to paint this picture as clearly as I can, and how it relates to vision, and why I think in order to be a success and reach the things that you want to reach, that vision has to be right there at the tip of your tongue, and you've got to be able to repeat it, say it, know it. It goes to sleep with you. It wakes up with you. It's there when your eyes are open, clearly, and it's there when your eyes are shut, clearly. In 2007, in fact, I had just gotten done coaching with the Nashville Cats. It was a hot summer August day. It was August 12th to be exact. I was driving on a bypass in Tennessee between Franklin, Tennessee and Nashville, Tennessee. And it's an interstate bypass. I had just stopped, gotten out of the car because I had to adjust something in my back seat that was rattling. I was in a hurry, didn't put my seatbelt on, got back down the interstate. I was in an SUV, and it was a 5-speed. Just put that thing into 5th gear and looked right down at the speedometer just to look at the RPMs. I remember it like it was yesterday. Just put it into 5th gear, and I was going 65 miles an hour normal speed there on the interstate. Had gone 1 mile from just getting out and was sort of in a hurry, didn't buckle my seatbelt back. When all of a sudden, through my left ear, it sounded like an explosion, almost like a cherry bomb firecracker going off behind my left ear. My left rear tire exploded. going 65 miles an hour down the interstate. I didn't know it at the time, but the vehicle I was in had been exposed to many, through different people in different places, many rollovers due to a tire blowout. And it had such a high profile that the thing would roll over. When the tire exploded, the car jerked real hard to the left. I overcorrected to the right because it was out of control, and I rolled down the interstate embankment. The witness said about 3.5 to 5.5 times. When it came to a stop, by the grace of God, I was still in the vehicle because I didn't have my seatbelt on. And that's what gets you most of the time, I hear, being ejected. I was still in the vehicle and came to rest where the vehicle was upside down. I was on my back, laying on the roof, looking up at the back seat. And I guess I'd seen too many thriller movies and crash up, bang up movies in my life, and I knew that vehicle was going to explode and I was going to die in a fiery crash if I didn't get the heck out of there. During the impact of the rollover and how violent it was, my shoes were blown off and I wasn't wearing socks. It was a hot August day, and I looked down, craned my neck up, looked down at my toe because I was saying, man, I got to get out of here. But I couldn't get anywhere, and I wasn't pinned in. I had free movement to get out, but I couldn't move. Looked at my two big toes, they wiggled. It seemed like a half a wiggle, and they stopped. And I couldn't get out, even though I desperately wanted to get out. A few minutes later, a witness that was behind me that saw it came down and said that he had called 911. Speeding up a little bit, I was life flighted by one of the life flight helicopters to the world-renowned, and I owe them a lot, Vanderbilt Hospital Trauma Unit. And once I was in the trauma unit, my dad was the first one to get there, and he went through the whole process with me. I was miraculously lucid during this entire time. I wasn't knocked out. I wasn't bloody. I had complete rational thought. So I was privy to everything that was being said and everything that was being done. First thing they do is they make sure you're stabilized, and they get you in this full body x-ray machine. From head to toe, you're x-ray to see what's going on. I get out, the doctors convene, and they come into the area that I was still there where that x-ray machine was, and they were able to talk to my dad. Of course, I was there with all lucid thoughts. And they said, Mr. Butler, your son, and again, this was just 10 years ago, so I was about 43 years old. Your son, Mr. Butler, has sustained a spinal cord fracture, and his spinal cord is damaged. We're going to convene a team of experts right now, and we're going to conduct emergency spinal cord surgery. And my dad was a football coach, so that was his whole life. As a football coach, that's what I grew up around. Of course, tough, mental toughness, positive thinking, all that. He said, yeah, okay. Is he going to walk? He just cut right to the chase. And in those situations, doctors are not positive, they're not negative. They're really just, here are the facts. And my dad pressed, is he going to walk? And they said, Mr. Butler, all we're doing right now for your son is making sure he has quality of life. Meaning that he can go to the bathroom and feed himself. But we're not giving you any hope of walking. He's paralyzed from the belly button to the tips of his toes. That was the prognosis. I had busted my T8 vertebrae. It was right there about mid-chest is your T8 vertebrae. And it's called a burst fracture. Before they wheeled me into surgery that Friday afternoon, I looked at my dad, and I told my dad something, because right there I was struck with a vision. I created a vision, and I'm going to fulfill that vision through the following words. Give you a little bit of backstory. During that time, my son is a senior in high school. He's played football there at the high school for 4 years. This again was August 11th. And I knew that the end of October that my son, along with the other seniors, was going to get rewarded with senior night. Essentially, I think it's a parent award, and which I think is a great accomplishment. So he's going to play his last high school football game at his home field, and me as the parent and him are going to be able to walk across and celebrate that special time that everybody in America has on senior night. I looked at my dad and I said, Daddy, remember in the South you call your dad Daddy and your mom Mother, at least I did. So I said, Daddy, I don't know that date, but I know it's the last Friday in October, and today's August 12th. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to walk my son across the football field that last Friday night in October. I'm going to walk out of this hospital, as a matter of fact, and I'm going to walk him across that football field. I spoke my vision. I had a clear vision of what I was going to do. Walk my son in approximately 2.5 month time span across a football field. And I stated that vision with the prognosis of paralysis. I stated that vision before I went into 6.5 hours of surgery. I stated that vision in the face of long odds. That was something that I could see. You know, vision is, and the vision I'm speaking about isn't hocus pocus. It's not some fluky idea. In fact, in Proverbs, in the Bible, and to be specific, let me turn to it here. Hope I don't wreck here and coaching in the car, because that's what I'm doing. But anyway, in Proverbs 29, verse 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Why was that written? You know, why is that in the Bible? The Israelites wandered for 40 years until they got to the Promised Land. Well, scholars say that trek actually would have just taken the Israelites 40 days. God got so frustrated with them because they lost their eyes on the prize. They lost their vision. Therefore, where there is no vision, the people perish. And what would have taken 40 days actually took the Israelites 40 years. That vision is a real thing. It's placed there by God. It's also placed there by science. You know, scientists, psychologists, whatever. Here I am. I'm studying. I'm stating studies again. But if you've listened to the other podcast, this is a study that the medical science folks have done, in that your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what's imagined. So when you image a vision in your mind, let's take the swinging of a golf club. When you swing a golf club and you vision that before you actually get up there and you swing for that shot, and you vision that perfect swing, and you envision that perfect follow through, your mind actually fires every muscle fiber, neuron, nerves that it requires to perform that task. So when you vision that perfect, your mind is hardwiring those fibers and those tendons and those ligaments, nerves, neurons to perform that task. Same thing for a field goal kicker stroking a perfect 50-yard field goal. It's vision. So when you ask your kids to vision a great play, it's a real thing. My vision happened to be huge. And it happened to be huge in the face of long odds. It happened to be a difficult task with the task ahead of me. Paralysis, never walking again. And here I am, 2.5 months to go, and I'm going to walk out of that hospital, and I'm going to walk my son across the football field. I go back to the definition. When I stated what I was going to do, and I told that to my dad, and he was the only one that heard it, I ingrained a vision that that's what I was going to do, and nothing was going to get me off that task. I go back to the definition again, that it stayed with me when I shut my eyes. It stayed with me as I had the last thought before I'd go to sleep at night. It stayed with me when I would have a setback. It stayed with me when I endured another surgery. During that 2.5 months time, I endured 4 surgeries to repair my body. I was pretty broken up. But being broken up, not being detoured, having setbacks, the vision was stronger. You see, that's stronger than a goal. That's stronger than a dream. You know, a dream, you don't necessarily wake up with it. You don't necessarily go to sleep with it. A vision is there. It's as clear as me looking out my windshield right now. So what I did, I worked that vision. I saw it so clearly that I had to practice walking without walking, because that's what I was visioning doing. So I would go every night before I'd go to sleep. I would go to my favorite golf course. And on that golf course, I would watch myself get out of the car. And let me say, I wouldn't really watch myself. I would actually do it there in my mind's eye. I'm visioning walking to get my clubs, walking in the clubhouse, paying my green fee, walking, actually visually feeling walking to the first tee, pulling out my 7-iron. It was a par 3. It may have, I'm not very good. It may have been a 5-iron, whatever it took to get to the green. But envisioning it, I teed it up there, and I drove the green within about a 3-foot putt. Of course, I'm visioning here. And then I would walk to the green, put my bag down, pull out my putter, stroke the perfect putt, birdie. I'd walk to the second hole's tee box. I was practicing that vision. I was living that vision. That's what I would go to sleep with, on that vision. During the day, in fact, one of my therapists came into my room one day, and she said, pull the covers off your feet and expose your bare feet. And I did, and she said, watch your toes move. And that's about midway through. I said, what do you mean I'm paralyzed? What do you mean watch my toes move? They can't move. And she goes, watch them move. And then, oh, okay, I got what you're saying. I would pull those covers back every day, and I would take my 10 toes, and I'd look down at them, and I would spell the ABCs with my big toes, and I'd go to the middle toe, the second toe, third toe, pinky toe, and I would move them. I'd wiggle them back and forth. I would do the same thing with the ankle, like you do in the old whirlpool, with spelling your ABCs. And if anybody had walked in the room, here I am staring at my bare feet. But what I'm seeing there in that clear vision are my feet moving, because there again, I'm firing those neurons, those fibers, those nerves to be ready for the day that I'm going to walk. It wouldn't leave me. It stayed with me. It went with me wherever I went. That was my vision. You know, as I explain this vision to you, it doesn't have to apply to a tragedy, or what would at the time would be termed a tragedy of having a freak accident and being paralyzed. And heck, you know, I'm a football coach, and football coaches make money basically with movement. You're out there on the football field running around, high energy. You know, what are you going to do if you can't do that anymore? And so that's something I was faced with. I wasn't worried about it. I had a vision. The first thing I was going to do was, end of October, walk my son across the football field. So, you know, as you think about that, you know, and you talk about vision, what do you see at the end of the year? What's your vision for what your team, your group, your people are going to look like, act like, be like? What's the long game? What are you going to look like in 3 to 5 years? What's the vision for your program, your business, your group? Well, you got this goal. You got these aspirations of moving up, and you're going to be at the top of your profession. You're going to be, what about I hear about these guys now. It's incredible. They're going from high school coaching to SEC head football coaches, and there's a clear vision. There's not an accident. You can see it, you can smell it, you can touch it. I would daily think about that walk across the football field. And it was so clear that literally I think about a Southern football Friday night. And I hope I can paint this picture well to you, but if you've been there, you know exactly. Right now, you can feel it so clearly. But that Southern Friday night, man, you walk out of the football field onto that freshly painted and cut grass. The band is playing, that beat of the drummers in the band, the cheerleaders in the background, whatever they do. The smell of the popcorn. And again, that fresh, crisp fall, late October night in the South on a football game, you smelled that smell. Ooh. Well, that's what I visioned every day. I visioned the dew of that 7:30 p.m. grass getting on my shoes, man, and wetting the tops of my shoes like it does. Walking over the crown of that field as they announced my son and his last game as a senior, accompanied by me, his parent. I saw it. I felt it. You can apply vision to your promotion. You can apply vision to your group, your team. You can apply vision to your season, to what your next process is. I'll talk more about this on Coaching Process Wins, but I'm involved in a startup technology company. And just the word startup mean it could be a success or it could be a failure. It could be something that hits like Uber, or it could die a violent death and never be heard from again. That's just the nature of startup. But my vision is the day that startup company rolls the first product off the conveyor belt and that first program buys it, that first team buys that software. And that coach, I see it, that coach saying, man, this has helped us so much as far as an efficiency tool. But I see the clear vision of what that company is going to accomplish. And I have that vision during the good days. I have that vision during the bad days. It doesn't leave. It's not a dream. It stays with me. And again, I want to stress back. It's not hocus pocus. It's not some type of prosperity gospel. The Bible says there again in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Speed up the story. Last Friday night in October, I walked across that football field. Make no mistake about it. 2.5 months later, after all the setbacks, after the heartaches, and there were some tough times, 4 operations, laying on your back day to day, never being given any hope, having some depressing times, the vision stayed there. And that kept me going. That got me up the next day. That fought me through whatever was told to me, whatever was done. That got me out of that hospital walking. That got me across that football field walking. 10 years later, I'm walking. I don't walk very fast anymore. I can't run, but I can assure you I can walk. I had to stay out of football for about 2 years, and I even went back and I coached football for an additional 4 years. And this year out here in California, I got the fortune of being able to volunteer with the high school football team across the street from where I lived, on top of doing the football things that I do, because I wanted to stay in the game, man. I wanted to give back to coaches. You know, if you go back to my why do I do what I do? I want to grow this game. I want more and I want better coaches to lead our kids. That's my why. That the juice, the fuel, the energy to make that why happen. So maybe there is a chicken and an egg here. But that juice, that fuel that gets that why of helping football coaches is, it's simple. I have a vision. And I can rely and know that a clear vision helps, because it got me up out of a bed and got me across a football field. The same thing can apply to you, whether you're a business, whether you're a coach, whether you're struggling, whether you're up, whether you're down. It grounds you. It brings you back to reality, both positively, or if your head's way up in the clouds, it brings you back down to where, hey, this is the vision. Let's stay to it. Let all your people clearly know it. Well, hey, let's land this plane on coaching in the car. Leave me some feedback. If you've got your own vision, if you've got your own story about a vision, I'd love to hear it, because you making a comment on Coaching Process Wins, just go to iTunes and subscribe to Coaching Process Wins. Hit me on Twitter, Process2Win. That's at Process, the number 2Win, at Process2Win. Leave a comment about your own vision, about what you've accomplished, because it helps other people. Share it with me, man, so I can pray for you and, hey, and be aligned with you that vision's going to, speak it. And, hey, in a subsequent coaching in the car, we're going to talk about the words you use to make these things happen. Again, it's real. Use it. Do it. Vision. Well, I'm landing the plane on Coaching in the Car, brought to you by Coaching Process Wins. Keep following us. Leave us a comment. Hit me up if you want to know more about Grinds. I always want to talk about my guys at Grinds. You know, they got a vision of helping guys kick the can, man. So it's a great project. Great product. Go to getgrinds.com. Put in Coach's Choice 15. That's 15. Get a 15% discount, or ask me any questions. Well, till next time on Coaching in the Car, adios. See you later. Hasta la Vega, or hasta la Vega, or however it's said in that language. You know what I mean. Take care. You've been listening to a Coaching Process Wins podcast. This has been an episode of Coaching in the Car. Make sure that you follow us on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Coaching Process Wins. Follow us on Twitter at Process2Win. And make sure that you always give us a comment, give us a review on our iTunes at Coaching Process Wins.